Hey guys, welcome back. We are going to start a new series today, Printer Face-to-Face. We are going to talk about and make comparison for two printers in one video. We will talk about price, go over some technical details, and see the real printing comparison, and summary with a final thought. With that being said, let's get started. I have already made a review video for both printers. If you want to check them out, the link is attached on the description below. Let's speak about the money first. On my left hand side, K1 is currently on sale around $370. On my right hand side, Bambu P1S is around $699 plus tag plus shipping. You are looking at almost $770 shipped to your home. With the AMS system, it will be around $1,000. So yeah. Let's go over some hardware features of those two printers first. They are both Core XY printers with a fully enclosure frame. K1 used metal to build a frame structure, and P1S used a welding steel. They all work pretty well as far as the frame rigidity, but they all have some complaint regarding bend or out of square frame due to the QC or shipping issue. Not very usual, but I've seen some. Creality K1 could print with 600mm and 20,000mm per second acceleration. On the other hand, Bambu P1S have 500mm max printing speed and 20,000mm per second acceleration. They both have 32 cubic millimeter float rate. Does it mean K1 has a better printing speed? Not necessarily. To me, it is more like a marketing slogan, that type of thing. You are most likely printing with a 200mm per second niche and 10,000mm per second acceleration for general application. It also really depends how big and how complex its model is. Filament type is another also major factor that could affect the printing speed. Model like Calibration that has a lot of sharp turn and small parameters, you are hard to reach 200mm per second printing speed. So it really depends. They both could print with a decent printing speed and retain a good printing quality at the same time. As far as the motion system, K1 uses a linear rail for both X and Y axis. The two rods on the X axis are hollow to further reduce the weight. On the other hand, P1S went to the more extreme route for the weight reduction. They use carbon fiber rods on the X axis and a metal linear rod on the Y-axis. As far as Z-axis goes, two printers are the same. They both use one stepper motor with the lead screw that is synchronized by a bill under the bottom cover. Both K1 and P1S use pressure sensor under the build plate to achieve auto-battling feature. They both worked really well to me. Next, they could both reach 300 Celsius degrees on hot and 100 degrees for the printer bed. Both enclosure and should be able to print most of common film out there. They are both absolutely amazing machine to print in ABS. They both have case fan to do some air exchange to prevent heat creep while you're printing PLA filament. It is worth to mention that P1S comes with an active carbon filter attached to the case fan, so the toxic film and odors from printing ABS will be get removed. And K1 doesn't have this. P1S has 256mm cubic printing volume. Compare K1 have 220 square build plate and 250mm height. The machine dimension for P1S is 389 x 389 x 455mm. They both come with some other features like filament runoff sensor, Wi-Fi connection. P1S also comes with a 720p camera. K1 has a very nice touchscreen. Oh, by the way, they both very loud. Well, you see that hardware equipped is very similar one to another. You may be thinking how you can justify the extra cost for the P1S. Let me give you my answer first. The user experience from P1S or generally Bambu Lab printers are way more superior compared to K1. Here's why. I define the user experience by three major categories. First, the initial setup and start to print. Second, the daily user experience. Third, reliability. Let's talk about the first point. The initial setup for both printers is very similar. There is no assemble or manual calibration needed for both printers. There are good instructions that come with both printers to tell you what to do to set up your printer. Both printers will have a long self-calibration and functional test. It will take around 15 minutes to run the first bed leveling and automatic input shaping. During the process, it will let you download their mobile app, Creality Print and Bambu Handy. Next, you'll need to connect the printer to 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi to use their wireless feature. Both printers could use traditional microSD card to transfer the G-code file, but K1 comes with a USB drive and very nice touchscreen. P1S on the other hand still uses a microSD card and the screen is very little, but it is easy to use too. K1 just better if you can access to the Wi-Fi. Next, you'll need to download Bambu Studio for P1S and Creality Print for K1. Bambu Studio, however, is way better than Creality Print. For the past few months of use, I did not encounter any major fault with it, but Creality Print crashes a lot, and the default setting profile for K1 is not good. Now let's jump into the second point, the daily use experience. Let's say most of you guys who want 3D printing, but not necessary to have hands-on experience to work on the machine or able to make your own CAD model. So where and how can you download models for your daily print? It's quite important besides learning how to run your printer. Bambu is trying to let you stick with their ecosystem. They have a filament consisting of NFC chips that will automatically recognize the color and setting if you are using AMS system. At the same time, you can use mobile apps to download their model from their model website, Make It World, and basically just few click and start a new print. It was a totally different experience from what we've done before. I never thought 3D printing would be this easy. There is a no slicer setting you need to mess with, just a few clips, and a few hours later, you'll get a good printout. You could also use it in a traditional way. You can download a model and slice it on the Bambu slicer, and send file to your printer wirelessly. But you have to agree the term to use a cloud service. So your model will be uploaded to the cloud first, and then download to your printer. Well, if you are considering your file privacy and cybersecurity thing, that might be a deal breaker. Otherwise, you'll be stuck with a microSD card. On the other hand, Creality has a very similar mobile app called Creality Cloud, which they have launched for a couple of years now. You could also connect your K1 to the mobile app and check the printer current state. Also, Creality consists their own model website called Creality Cloud. Now, throughout the process, I feel like mobile app and Creality Cloud website, it's more like, hey, we need a model website and let's make one. But we are not going to throw a lot of resources to maintain and improving it. The Creality Print slicer almost feels the same way. There is a missing on attention to the detail and the refinement. As a 3D printing hobbyist and model designer, I don't see any reason I would prefer to use a Creality Cloud over Printable or any other website. Just my personal opinion. As a hobbyist, I want the site to have enough models and I can browse through and find a model that I like. So it has to have enough quantities. At the same time, the quality of the model does matter a lot. However, during my few days of use of Creality Cloud, whenever you see good models there, it's mostly not free, which is kinda sucks. But there's nothing wrong with pay for the models. As a designer myself, there should be some sort of reward for making me to spending time modeling, testing, uploaded models. It could be tangible like reward point that could exchange for some filaments, or intangible reward like people's appreciation and likes. But it seems like the Creality Cloud is not figured out quite well. A lot of models just lack of communications. You see a lot of downloads, no feedbacks, no likes. The reward seems not so attractive. The paid model barely have people to download, and the designer didn't get enough sales too. On the other hand, well, leave aside the beef between Printable and Make It World. Make It World has launched just a few months ago. There are already a lot of good models and big number of visitors there. You don't see models with a price tag there. The tangible reward from Make It World is good. The communication is going on, and you see people likes and appreciate your work. Well, at this moment, leave aside the drama between Printable and Make It World. Why I'm mentioning it again. Well, Make It World as a new platform has a lot of its own issues, but no one can guarantee there will not be a price tag on the model that you want to print in a later day. But at this point, the Bambu ecosystem is absolutely the winner compared to the Creality. I think it is long-term things that will impact your user experience. That's why I spend quite a lot of time talking about it here. Despite the Creality Cloud to the K1, you could still use a Printable to download the model and print with your K1. Also, in my opinion, routing a firmware and getting rid of Creality print is a must-do. The way you can configure what you like for your K1, not necessarily as beginner-friendly as the Bambu Lab ecosystem does, but it is doable, and K1 could be very simple to use in a daily basis too. The other part of user experience are how easy in a daily basis, basically relate to how easy to use a machine. I think both machines have some learning curve. For P1S, if you have an AMS come with it, don't do to your AMS that you have to be aware of, or like me, learn it from the hard way. The machine itself is not perfect. There are a lot of areas you can make improvements on, but after using for a while, it is very much a printing machine that just returns your good print after print. On the other hand, K1 has some more minor issues. There are more things you need to pay attention, learning, and figuring out. You need to root the firmware and configure the machine, potentially redo the input shaping thing, another fine calibration too. My K1 has a little issue with the ghosting while printing some of the geometrical models. It is not particularly bad, but it's just not as good as the P1S does. I also have an issue with the printing TPU on the K1. Reliability-wise, I think both printers are good so far. At least that's for my printers. I have a P1S over 3 months now. I barely encounter any print value, besides some my own operator errors. Same as K1, I have it almost 2 months now. Besides the initial learning curve, I barely got anything fail as well. That's one of the model I designed a couple days ago. I run a prototype for both machines. Can you tell which one from K1 and which one is from P1S? Have you had an answer on your mind? Actually, the most left one is the only model printed from P1S. The other 3 are printed from K1. Especially the wood filament cap gave me issues. Eventually it completely clogged the nozzle on the P1S. So I have to switch to the K1 to do the prototype. Well, you should not try to print a wood filament with a 0.4 nozzle in general, but K1 just make it. Now I think many of you may have heard people talk about Creality printer is problematic. Their QC sucks, or do they even have a QC, that kind of talk? But I have owned many Creality printers. There's something strange mistake from the printer out of box sometimes. But most of the time, I could fix by myself and get the printer running. I have my first Ender 3V2 for a couple of years now. It is still running fine. There might need a bit more of trickling and some more patience and love, but they are very similar to any other of the budget machine. Back to the K1, it was being rushed out to the market. There are a lot of design issues from the beginning, but they have been fixing it for the past few months. Now we have already talked about a lot of user experience. Let's go ahead to the printing comparison section. Before we start the comparison, I want to clarify something if you are new to the 3D printing. The printer itself does matter to the printing quality, but a lot of times filament, slicer setting, and calibration make a huge difference to the printing quality too. There is always something that will out of control, but at least I can control the same filament for both sides. The slicer from P1S is Bambu Lab Studio, and the K1 was using Creality print and got switched to an Okra slicer in a later test, which Okra slicer is basically similar to Bambu Lab Studio. Entry from the SD card. It says 17 minutes, but the calibration before print takes around 8 minutes, so a total of 25 minutes. You can see this benchy turned out really good for 17-minute actual printing time. I noticed that the color of sample filament is hard to capture on my camera, so I rerun the benchy with the blue PLA again, so you guys could see the outcome better. The layer looks almost faultless, besides a little ghosting around the circle area. Overhang looks perfectly clean. Small parameter looks good too. I am amazed by the quality of this fast-speed printing benchy. Compared to the benchy it came out with the SD card on the Bambu Lab P1S. I'll leave you to judge. They are actually come from the same roll of a PLA filament. I want to continue slicing my own benchy from the Creality print slicer. The slicer setting is most kept unchanged from the Creality print. I purposely to use orange PLA filament that come with my Bambu P1S. I have some remaining Bambu PLA come with my P1S, so I just go ahead and print the one Calibration Cube. Let's directly compare the one that I got from P1S. Again, make your own judgment. I think P1S one is a little better this time. Find a riser for K1 since the cable chains keep slamming on the top cover. I also print one from P1S with exactly same filament. The one from P1S is significantly better. Next, let's move to a PETG filament. I first noticed that there is a lot of debris on the surface. Rotate to the backside. All the small perimeter area looks bad. Look above. There is a more debris issue. I won't say it is horrible print, but it doesn't look good to me. Is it because of the slicer setting or slicer? Maybe. This question rises on my head. I also getting enough with the weird operation with the Creality print slicer. So I download the Overhang slicer and use a default configuration and setting to slice another Cali dragon. Well, you can see this print significantly better than the last one. Besides very little string on top, this is an almost perfect print. Compared to the last one from Creality slicer, you can see how big the difference is. Continue testing on TPU. But very soon, I found there is an under-extrusion issue. But I just leave it to finish. This model has a crazy amount of retractions. For flexible filament like TPU, this is a stress test. K1 does not clog during print, that's good, but the amount of stringing and finishing is not good. Final thoughts of printer face-to-face, episode 1. K1 compared to P1S. First, I want to say these two printers are unfair comparison because of the current big price differences. Leave alone the current sale price for K1. The original MSRP for K1 is $599. It put very close position to the P1P and P1S. There are many people have comparing these three printers when I do the cross-shopping. So let's get them what they want. Okay, first of all, both printer is a good pick for the money. For $370 after tax, K1 delivers amazing hardware value if you can live with those imperfections and make an improvement by yourself. P1S on the other hand was around $77 tax and shipping included. By the way, they have a Black Friday sale for $599 MSRP and it ends at November 27, around $1,000 with the AMS system. It is also a very good value for the money. For $1,000, you'll probably get one of the best 3D printing experience across a hobby level machine. If you're willing to pay the premium and use a Bambu filament, you can very much use a smartphone to play around with this printer. The AMS multicolor printing solution is unarguably one of the best into the market from cost and reliability standpoint. Creality also mentioned that they will launch a multicolor system next year, but no news regarding if they were comparable with the K1 or not. Second, both printers could print at a very fast speed and still deliver good printing quality. Both printers are capable to printing most of filament out there, but K1 has some issue with the printing TPU, but that could be just my operator error. Third, the user experience from P1S is way more superior compared to K1. The mobile app makes P1S experience to another level. Well, the mobile app is nothing new to the 3D printing, but combined with the Bambu ecosystem, Bambu Handy might be the best one currently. K1 on the other hand, it's more like a trinket machine, but it is still one of the best value in terms of price, printing speed, quality, and the hardware value. Fourth, K1 is open source and P1S is closed sourced. If all you want is just a printing model, I guess it doesn't matter to you. But if you're someone who make mods and make your own twinkling things, open sourced K1 comes with a big advantage. It also means that on the other hand, if you want to get full experience out of Bambu ecosystem, you need to pay the premium and stick with their filament and other stuff. Fifth, both machines are volume seller. That means you don't need to worry about the part availability in long-term ownership. The official part from both brand official side is a bit of pricey side, but you can get a lot cheaper from third party. They're everywhere. Because a big owner group out there, your problem will get answered, or you can find a solution for your issue very easily. I guess we just leave it here. Hey guys, feel free to leave your comment below. Since this is our first episode for printer comparison video, tell me what you think. I'm open to suggestions and advices. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.
Look at this guy. Abracadabra!